Okay, before we got started talking about the financial statements, I thought we'd take a look at a couple of them, and this is Tesla's. So their stock is selling for $747.93 right now per share. So this is Yahoo Finance, which is a good place to go to look up any financial statements. And you can go down here and get all kinds of information about the company. Even just statistics are here, which is handy. Okay, sometimes they've got more things in there that we might be aware of, but it's good for some things. And I'm going to go over here to financials. And we're on the income statement. So let's take a look at the accounts here that they're using. Now, all these numbers are in thousands, so their total revenue in 2020 was $31 billion. Isn't that something? So they weren't even hit by COVID. I mean, maybe they were, but it was still a big increase from 2019. So it's revenue minus cost of revenue is gross profit, minus operating expenses is operating income, minus other income and expense, and usually it's interest expense in here, is a pre-tax income, less taxes is net income. Okay? Just like that, and it's exactly what we've been doing. And you can open these up, and sometimes they'll have additional information, like there's selling general and administrative expense, and then they've got R&D. Because you figure a company like Tesla, R&D is a really important number, and what investors are looking for, they want to see this number increasing. They don't want to see it go down. Okay, they want to feel that the company is really investing in it because that's what they're about. So you can compare, say, the percentage of R&D expense to total sales, and say that they're what do we have? Say 41 divided by, what is that? 41 divided by 2. I don't have a calculator, but you can compare it to other companies. Okay, so let's go to our problem now. What I want to do is this Racine Furnishings, and I'll do it right in Excel. And what they've done is they've given you a lot of different account balances. All right, so this is March 31, 2019, and we've got balance sheet accounts in here, and they're all mixed up. Okay, so in order to do a problem like this, you really got to know what accounts you're looking for. Okay, so let's just look through them really quick. We got interest expense there. We got cost of merchandise sold. We got a merchandise inventory, but they already gave us cost of goods sold, so we don't have to worry about that. Here we got office supplies and store supplies. Now, unless it's an expense, unless it was like office supplies expense, then we're going to consider this an asset. And the same thing with store supplies. So store supplies would be an asset. Store supplies expense would be an expense on the income statement. Okay? So our first number here is going to be sales. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Okay? Sales are, and I'm going to put this on the outside, go 2564, and we're going to subtract less cost of merchandise sold, and that is $1,520,000. Gives us gross profit. Okay, now what other expenses do we have in here? We've got selling expenses and administrative expenses. So let's put the selling expenses in first. Or you could have a heading here. Let's say less operating expenses. And we've got administrative expense and selling. So okay, our selling expenses are $286,000, and administrative expenses are $216,000. So let's say total operating expense. This is total. And then I'm going to say we're going to have operating income. And that would be, let's make this a total here like this. Top and bottom. Same with this. So operating income is the 1,044,000 minus 502. Okay? Now non-operating expenses would be this interest expense. Okay, or if we had any gains and losses on anything, they must have depreciation inside of the administrative and salary expense. That's all we've got here. So now I'm going to say less interest expense, or operating income, interest expense. We have no taxes here either. So interest expense is 4,000. And we have no taxes, so we don't have to worry about income before tax. Now we've got net income. Okay. And this would get a double underline, top and double bottom border. Now what's important here are these headings, okay? One of the things that's important. So let's highlight those. We've got gross profit, and then we've got operating income, or income from operations, and then finally net income. Okay? Those are the most important things. And here I'll put a $sign in. $sign at the top, and then one at the bottom of the column. All right, so if you prepared this at work, you'd look like you knew what you were doing. I could give these two a bump. A little bit of an indentation looks good. I can do it with cost of goods sold also. See, that's better, and maybe with interest. Okay. So what's important are these headings, and that you separate your product-related sales and cost from your operating expenses. And then we've got income. This is income from operations. This is what they've earned from what they've done. You know, the way they spend their time. If we take a look at, let's take a look at Tesla again. Here's our gross profit. Okay, just exactly like what we had. We've got operating revenue here. Maybe this is a really big company, so they probably have other kinds of revenue. Less cost of revenue gives us an actual gross profit. So you could take 6.6 divided by 31.5 and see what their gross profit percentage is. Okay. Then less selling, general, and administrative expense. They also have R&D, but we come down to operating income. Okay, in any company you look at in here, it's going to have the exact same, don't worry about the stuff on the bottom, but the exact same classifications for revenue. Okay.